Blog Talk Radio.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Sunny D. Welcome to GFT Radio. Willie, you want to say hi?
What's up, good people? What up, Joe?
Yes, it is March 30th, 2017. March is over, guys. We are in spring. April is coming quicker than you know it. Oh, wow. Got to give shout out to Clint. He is not feeling well. He fell ill shortly before the show started. He wanted to be on, but he just needs to take time for himself and get himself together and hope that he feels better. I'm hoping he's listening if he's not passed out sleep like he should be. So feel better. It does feel, right? It does feel weird that he's not here, right? But we got a great topic, and he actually picked this topic, and it kind of sucks that he's not going to be here to do it. So we hope we do it justice. But tonight we're going to talk about finding our missing. And when we mean by our missing, we mean our minority missing girls. You know, in D.C., I know you guys been seeing the Twitter feeds, all the tweets, and the hashtag missing D.C. girls. It was a lot of different news things coming out saying that it was one of the things that wasn't true, but they said in the 24-hour span, 14 Black and Latino girls went missing. And not that wasn't true, but what we do know is 40-plus Black and Latino girls that are teenage girls that have gone missing. So it's been a lot of the news clippings going out. It's been a lot of misunderstandings. Me and Willie talked about this briefly, like people getting, like, you got so many conflicting stories. He actually corrected me on what I originally posted. And, like, you know, we kind of dug deep into that. So we're going to touch that tonight. So hoping that you guys tune in and listen in during our topic. The phone lines open up at 10:15. Phone number is 657-383-1155. You can live tweet us at GFT_radio. Oh, and if you're listening, you're on blogtalkradio.com/GFT radio show. And if you're not listening through that, you're going to listen to us when we get our YouTube channel. Go to Blog Talk Radio and follow the show. Will you want to get into this, or you want to talk about today first before we go into the actual topic?
Only thing I know is, like you said earlier, is I'm ready for spring to really be here. I'm in Detroit, so I don't know about y'all over there in Trenton, but over here in Detroit, we still looking for some warm weather. So I woke up to hail, to sleet, to snow on my car this morning. It's not spring yet. It's not spring yet.
Well, see, no, we get a mixture here because we get one day is cold as hell, and then the next day it's like 60 degrees, feeling like it's spring weather, and then you get the rainy day. So you like right now, allergy season is still in effect because you don't know what the hell you're gonna wake up to in one morning. So, you know, that's what we're doing. But we haven't officially. We had spring for a week. It left, and then winter came back, and now we're getting back into spring. So I don't know what's happening, but, you know, this weather is definitely crazy and not good for allergies. And those, like, my kids have eczema, so, you know, this is not a good time for them. So.
Right. Yeah, I feel you. I got dry skin, so I go through similar issues. Not as bad as that. Yeah. So not a good look.
Yeah, not a good look at all. But other than that, my week's been good. I've been keeping myself busy. Just doing, you know, mom's hit, all the stuff we got going on. But yeah, that was my week, and I'm happy it's almost about to be over. Oh, and I have to say this. I know before we jump into the topic, I want to say this. I cannot wait for Saturday. I'm going to be in New York City at Washington Square Park in a big ass pillow fight, and I can't wait because Saturday is, guys, you guys don't know. Every year,
you're supposed to tell me about the pillow fight. You forgot me.
I'm sorry. It's National Pillow. I'm sorry, but just so you know, for next year, it's National Pillow Fight Day, the first Saturday in April. It's all across the world. Like, Google that shit. It's everywhere. They have the pillow fight in Philly. They're gonna have the pillow fight in Washington. Hopefully, they're gonna have. If we have one in New York, I'm gonna go down there. And this year's theme for the one in New York is Vikings. Oh, my God. Tomorrow I will be at Party City buying me a Viking hat because I will be at the pillow fight. Got my pillows ready. I'm taking my daughter and my niece, and we're going to act the fool. And if these child fight me, you're going to have to.
Dope.
And it's always fun. it's always fun. Like it's so much fun, and people are like, oh no, I want to go to a pillow fight because if I go to a pillow fight, I'm in a punch my face. And not ever in the history of I would say 4 years, maybe even 5 years that I've been going. It has never been a fight. It's been black folks there, and it has not been a fight. I've seen the hardest hardcore dudes at the pillow fight having a damn ball. You have to take your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like people always say, oh, I can't do that because I punch my in the face. No, it's all this fun. Like you realize that we are adults. We are stressed out. We got bills. We got this, that, and third. How cool is it to go to a pillow fight and just knock somebody over the head and not go to jail? And just have fun.
I saw the pictures a couple of years ago when you guys were there. I think you and your sister were there. And when I saw the pictures and it was like people were like dressed up in pajamas. People had the big old pillows. I saw somebody with a body pillow.
Yeah.
Rolling. It was so funny to me. And like you said, I saw it in some of the pictures because I think I saw some other people's pictures too. I saw, like you said, the hardcore types, just everybody just doing it.
Yeah, because it's even little kids out there.
I was like, I need to get down to that. I need to do that.
Yeah, it's even little kids. I've seen little kids be on their dad or mom's shoulder, and it's cute because they pillow fight. And then they have rules. Like they have a theme. You can come there with a theme on, but if you dress in a character, you will get jumped by everybody because all you hear is, "Come on, Pikachu!" Yeah! And then everybody busting in the head with people. It happens like that. I did my sister. It was her birthday. One year we went on her birthday, and I was like, "It's her birthday!" Yeah! And we pull her up, you know. And then all we do is we go to the pillow fight. We have a good time. After a while, you got a headache because you can got busting their head so many times. You walk in the streets of New York City, you seeing the sights, you having fun, you shopping, whatever. We grab a bite to eat, we hang around Times Square, we walk through the city, catch the subway, just do fun shit. And then by 12 o'clock that night, we going back home, and it's fun. And you can take your kids. It's something you can take your kids to and just have fun. So I suggest if you look in your city and see if they have a pillow fight, and it's not started a pillow fight. It's fun. So there, and if you follow me on Snapchat or my blog, I'm definitely gonna have videos posted as soon as I get back. So see how it is from there. But yeah, I'm gonna have a ball. I can't wait.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time.
Yeah, and the kids, I wasn't gonna take them this year, and they were like, "No, we coming with you, right?" I'm like, "No, I didn't want to go with y'all. I didn't want to take you guys. I don't know if I like y'all, but they had fun last year, so they want to come. So I'm like, y'all can come." So. That's what I'll be doing this week. And I got no other plans to go to the pillow fight on Saturday. And if you ain't got no plans, it's Saturday at Washington Square Park at 4 p.m. Bring your pillow, bring your smiles, bring all the fun. We're going to be real childish and petty, and we're not going to try to head with a pillow. And the theme is Viking, so if you are in the neighborhood, do come and check it out because that's where you're going to have a good time. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And next year I will remind you so you can come out and have fun. That'll be fun. Yeah. So guys, we are done with the light, but that was like a good way to kind of just get the mood, get everybody engaged in our conversation. But we're gonna get to the topic. We're gonna find our missing. We're gonna talk all about this topic. So, Willie, what did you think when you first saw the very what was the very first one that you saw? The news clipping, whether it was a tweet, Instagram post, like what did you see first?
So the first thing that caught my attention, I believe, was at the beginning of March, there was this big outcry about I think at that time there was 21 at the time missing children that were it was 21 total, I believe, that were missing in D.C., right? So another group had started releasing information about missing kids across the country, saying it was like 64,000 missing kids. There was so many I think Chicago shocked me as well. I want to say there was, at least on this tweet or whatever, that there was like 16,000 missing children total in Chicago alone. So that was the first thing that kind of caught my attention. And the disparity that they were mentioning was the fact that there was no media coverage, right? So that caught my attention, and that's when I started to look into it a little bit more. And then this whole thing with DC popped up. I was definitely, I think I was more shocked that it was so many. And I've been seeing a lot of people posting on Facebook, on Twitter, about missing people popping up here and there. And sometimes you follow some you don't. And, you know, I was mainly following the ones here in Detroit or the Detroit area, Michigan area. And, you know, I would see some where people would come, you know, they would be found, or they figure out what happened. When I noticed that there were, when I noticed the story about the 16,000 kids in Chicago, that's when I started to kind of look back at how many kids I had saw. And there was like a large amount of just under 18-year-old, mainly females, who were being reported missing. And that's when it really hit me, like, you know what, that's true. I've never seen the reports on TV. I always seen it on Twitter, always seen it on Facebook, never seen anything on TV. And, you know, so that's what it started to concern me at that point.
Yeah, because that's what I thought. I thought that same thing because, like, I know in Trenton when one of the kids go missing, we see a post go up, and it's like a parent saying, can you help me find my kid? It's not a news media. I mean, we do have this one thing called Peterson's Breaking News, and if they see it, they'll retweet it, or if you report it to them, they'll like share it on Facebook and stuff like that, whatever. But like, there's no initial media coverage, and then it goes to the thing like I kept hearing more along the lines, oh, they're not missing, they probably ran away, and it's like that's assumed about people of color, oh, they just ran away. Or, you know, or teens. Now, I just think that it's weird because I feel like this. If you know if your child is missing or if they ran away, as a parent, you know. Like if you got into argument with your kid and your kid left out the door, you know they ran away. Versus them going to school and not coming home by the time dinner comes, they've been coming home every day, and all of a sudden now they're not there. I think that when it comes to missing kids, it shouldn't be a wait of 24 hours because they're a teenager. It should be let's go find. Let's do the same effort we would do if it was a toddler.
Situation. Even with a runaway though, you can put in a police report. Well, at least here in Michigan, we can put in a police report immediately.
But you have to wait a couple more hours, right?
No, it was. I can't say no specifically to how many hours or if it's some number of hours, but I do know that that we were able to put in a police report as soon as we realized that she was missing, because that happened with my daughter, my oldest daughter. That she was, and like you said, we knew that it was basically a runaway situation, not really a abduction or anything. But because so the thought process there being, you know, even though they run away, there's still that risk, right? There's the risk of being kidnapped. There's the risk of being solicited if they're you know, if they can be involved in the trafficking and all that kind of stuff. So even runaways, there's still that risk, you know. So law enforcement definitely should take that still serious, regardless if it's a runaway or if it's
yes, because there's stuff people won't. Yes, absolutely. I know the first clipping that I did see was the one that was tweeted out there that a lot of articles said like basically wasn't a true story. The first article I did see was the in the 24-hour span, the 14 teenage girls went missing, and what bothered me. As I looked at because I got into, you know, I kind of looked at the different links, checked it out myself, and I'm looking at all the pictures of these missing kids, and I don't like, maybe I was thinking too much, but I didn't like the pictures that they were using.
Yeah.
As a missing persons report. Like, it looked like mugshots. Some of them look like mugshots to me. And then some of them they just like think if it had been, and I don't like, and I'm not a racist person, but I think that if it was like a white, a Caucasian child, it would have been a better picture.
Yeah,
you know?
And that was one thing. Somebody brought up to me when I was going through, and I had posted. And this wasn't even a missing child. This was about a young man who died recently here, and while he was practicing a sport. And the picture they used for the report was it wasn't a mugshot, but it was like, you know, he was made. It looked like they were trying to make him out to be a thug the way they had him looking on the picture. And like, you know, they couldn't find a better picture of this kid. I mean, he was in high school athletics. Like, they didn't have a picture of him playing the sport, or they have a picture of him, you know, just, you know, in his uniform with you know, with his buddies, something, something that looked a little more appropriate.
Yeah, because
like you said, I noticed that with the missing kids too, is that they were grainy shots. There were shots where it was like they overly darkened them, or I might have been thinking too much too, but I still felt like there was something weird about the way.
Yeah, because
it's glamour shots when Caucasian children go missing.
It's like the picture was done with a baseball uniform on. It's like the model picture. They got a baseball uniform on or something like that. And like, not to say that all the pictures were bad. And I get that some like even the one girl that came forward and said that she saw herself on the news. Her friends were saying she was on the news. She looked at the news, realized it was her, and it was a miscommunication with her. She wasn't missing. She didn't check in on snow. She said she would. She did. She told the news anchor text messages of her talking to her counselor or whoever it was, her caseworker, the whole entire time that she was at her dad's house because she was in between between group homes, and she's waiting to get to a group home, and she was texting her caseworker. She was staying with her dad until she got into the group home, and it was a miscommunication. They reported her missing. A lot of people took that as these girls ain't never runaways. They already in the system. I don't care whether or not they are in the foster care system, whether they're in a group home or what have you. If they're not located, something's wrong.
Right.
And
exactly.
with her situation, she wasn't missing. She was mistakenly reported missing, and she came forward. And a lot of people took it as, they all runaways. I don't think, maybe some are runaways. I'm not going to say that, but at the same time, some of them aren't.
Exactly.
They're actually missing, and these are like little kids. They're like my daughter's age. I would be upset as a mother. Like, most of these girls are my daughter's age, so I would be scared if I came home one day and my daughter didn't come. Like, I get worried. My daughter has softball practice now, so she gets home later, and I worry about her. Like, if she getting home, like after a while, I'll text her like, okay, where you at? She's like, on my way home or something like that, because I will worry as a parent. And I would never want it to be like, they think she ran away. No. Why would my daughter run away? She had no reason to. Yeah, we have our problems. Teenage girls and their moms, they have that back and forth every so often, but she don't need to run away. Where was she,
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and like I said, I think we still have to take it because, when a young person is out on the streets, they are more apt to get in trouble. They're more apt to get in with the wrong crowd. Because anybody who's willing to allow you as a under 18-year-old to just be out, hanging out with them or going or living at their house and that kind of thing, and your parents are not involved in that, they're in general, not all of them, but in general, they're not utterly good. It's either they're letting you do things that you shouldn't be doing or whatever the case may be. But when you're when you're a runaway, you're more apt to be getting in trouble. You're going to end up with some kind of police situation. You're going to end up with some kind of truant situation with school. There's so many factors there, but like I said, then there's also the factor of they're more apt to be coerced into doing drug dealing, drug using, sexual exploitation, things of that nature. Because look, they gotta figure out how to live, right? And at that point, they might start selling drugs, they might start doing things, for money that they shouldn't be doing, of course, but that's what happens. And so it's a fact of life that everybody needs to take serious, that these children, they still need help, regardless if they ran away from home or if they, whatever the case is. Like you said, in the system already, the system is set up for a reason, and it's to save people, not to let people just, be thrown away. You can't just throw these folks away.
Exactly. And I just, I'm reading some of the art. I'm reading this article. It's on okplayer.com, and they were talking about how some girls were actually found, and the earliest, one of the girls that was found, she was missing since February, and they said they've been home. They're safe, so that's good. It doesn't really explain where they were, or I guess they didn't get to the report what happened and why they were missing. But then you still have a whole lot. There's more than a dozen of them missing in 2017. We're in March, going into April. it's still a lot of the girls that are in the teenager age that are still missing. And so, what do you say to the parents that people feel like these kids just ran away? Like, what if they're not in the system? What if they were upstanding kids and all of a sudden they ran away? Like, I will be checking the areas. They said they have a map now that basically maps out where, like, it's like a map where they have all these things where you can check out where these kids were last seen and what they were wearing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and that was, like you said, the sheer numbers, you know, is what's crazy in terms of how many people are either reported missing or come up missing. So, like right now in D.C., and just like you said, just in 2017, we're up to 558 juveniles reported missing, 300 adults. But of all the cases, the currently open cases is down to 31, right? So we're talking, and that's 31 total for both numbers. I think it's at 17 right now for juvenile. So 14 of them they consider critical, which would mean that they are either cases where they're not sure if the person is or they're certain that it's not a runaway, that it's or that the person is in medical danger or just in danger in general. 3 of them were considered non-critical. That would be your runaways, or more in particular, not even just runaways, like the family is involved. It's like a family custody situation, right? So it's more like, you know, the dad took them, and so they're not in danger. They're just not where they're supposed to be, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'm reading one of these other posts that I'm reading on the NBC Washington, and I was reading the post, and it's one person that posted. It said DC DC's missing people and human trafficking. They're saying that it's kind of human trafficking takes place all over the world, including DC. So I guess they're saying that DC is a prime area for human trafficking.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
And that's what I've been hearing that too. And people are like, that's false. But like, at what point do you kind of take that with some grain of salt? Because what is like, you look at the different sex tracking rings all across the world, especially the ones that's overseas, that, you know, the people go out of town and they don't come back. The girls, it's always younger girls.
Right.
So the target that's being missing, you know, like you said, they could be runaways and they could get sucked up in their life, but then they could actually be kidnapped, taken, or, you know, and now this is their life, and they think that nobody cares or whatever the reason, you know. And it's just, I just think that it should be more light shine, let up on it. It should be a lot of questions going around. It should be a lot of looking into a lot of different avenues to try to figure out what's going on. Why is this rate rising? Like, what's going on with missing people, period?
Right.
It's just people that have been missing for years that they still ain't fine.
Exactly. I was gonna say that now one of the situations that had kind of looking into it more, and I guess I kind of took it a little bit harder, was that they were putting out the picture of the young lady from D.C. that's been missing. I think she's been missing 3 years now. She was 8 at the time, because she's about 11 now. She was 8 at the time. I think her name was Alicia, and she had they've been putting her picture in this now in these reports as well. And, you know, like I said, it's like situations like that, like what happened to these children, right? And who's looking into it, and are they looking into it actively?
How are these parents feeling?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's one thing for your child to be harmed, and you find them, and you do see, like, you go through the process of knowing that this happened, and that, you know, that they're either passed on, like, you have some type of closure. But for a parent to know that your child's out there somewhere and you just don't know where, like, who is talking to these parents and say, we're going to help you find your child? Like, how long does it have to be? Because you got to realize this person got to wake up every day knowing that their child is not in their house, and they have no idea where their child is. They don't have anyone really looking for their child. I have yet to see. Now I get Amber Alerts all the time. I have yet to see an Amber Alert since any of these kids went missing, and I get Amber Alerts in places that I don't even live in.
Right. Yeah. Oh, now I did want to speak on the Amber Alert thing, and I'm kind of happy I haven't really been seeing a lot of this lately, in terms of people complaining about Amber Alerts. But I mean, the point you're making is one that I think it was a big deal about a year ago, because people were getting upset because a lot of children were coming up either missing or there was one case there was a kidnapping, but the Amber Alert wasn't put out that happened here in the Michigan area, and so there's a huge misconception about Amber Alerts. So I did some more research on it, and I think I made a post about it. But basically what it boiled down to is an Amber Alert is actually not a missing person alert, right? So every missing person that comes out, it can't be an Amber Alert. The problem with, not the problem, but the stipulation for an Amber Alert is that it can't be used in situations where it's the missing person has been missing longer than, I believe it's either 12 hours or 24 hours. There's a limit to how long they could have been missing before the Amber Alert is posted, which I know a lot of people argued about that because it's like the person was reported earlier than that, but by the time someone decided to put an Amber Alert out, it's too late, right? But the thing is that it has to be within a certain amount of time for it to be considered effective. The other effective method, though, is that the Amber Alert has to include information about a vehicle, and especially like a license plate for the vehicle. So the Amber Alert is basically set up to prevent or to fight abductions, especially when they involve someone getting kidnapped and put into a car. So to try to stave off that person being able to just run off with the child. So the Amber Alert is very limited in terms of how it can be used. So a lot of these kids, nobody knows how they came up missing. They've been missing for 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours. So by the time an Amber Alert could even be put out, there would have to be more information, which is not available, right? So that's why Amber Alerts aren't put out in these situations.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And another thing too is that is the point that was made was that if you had too many Amber Alerts going out anyway because of somebody saying, well, put it out anyway, right? So a lot of people said that. They were like, hey, put it out anyway. These kids are underage. They need to be found, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, well, if you put it out too much, then people will start to ignore them. And it was actually happening. There was posts on Facebook, and they made me so angry, but there was posts on Facebook saying that this is how you disable your Amber Alerts, and this is how you turn off Amber Alerts on your phone and on your computers and all this other stuff. And it's like, this is a method for people to try to get their children back. What if it's your child? Be on the lookout. Help out. If it was your family, you would want somebody to look out for your family. But people are going to be people. That's how I would say it. People are going to be people. I'm
not even going to lie. One time I did get an Amber Alert. It was about 4 in the morning. And I tell you, I was knocked out. I was knocked out in my sleep. You got to see that you good under your cover. You just so warm, and my phone goes off like I don't know what. I just on my sleep, and I was so pissed off that because it wasn't my alarm. So I understand. I'm being honest about it. I was pissed off, and it was something that happened in ONPA, and I'm like, wait a minute. I live in New Jersey. Why are we? I mean, I know that we're not that far from each other, but I was just like, why are they waking up at 4 in the morning? And I was upset about it. I did think about disabling my Amber Alert on my phone because at that point that alarm goes through your phone. It doesn't matter what's happening; it's going to go. And you look at it, and you don't think about that. If you don't think about at that moment when they wake you back to sleep, you don't think about if that were your child.
Right, exactly.
So I mean that kind of makes people think that makes it. And this one, I heard this quote on TV, and I don't remember who said it. They said nothing is real until it affects you personally.
Right.
It's like if somebody like you
say that.
Yeah, it's almost like like with these missing kids. It won't affect you unless your child comes up missing. All of a sudden, you want everybody to feel the same way you feel. How do you think that parent feels when their child's missing? So you kind of like, and it's messed up that we think that way because you don't think about things like that. You don't personalize things. People tell you not to personalize everything, but when something like that happens, you don't sympathize until it happens because you never think it can happen to you. And once it happens to you, that's when it's real for you. It's not real unless it happens to you. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't matter to you because it didn't happen to you.
You know, and not that everybody needs to weep and lose sleep over every situation that happens in the news or happens that that they hear about, but still be sensitive and conscious to the fact, right? Like I said, it's just sometimes people just they lose their humanity, and because it's not them, because it's not their people, it's not their family, and that's what they don't realize is that sometimes it's going to be their family, sometimes it's going to be you, or it's going to be your people, So you have to be conscious that you walk the same respect and the same participation from everyone else. So
exactly.
You're doing your little part.
Exactly. Before we continue, I want to give out the number just in case anybody wants to listen and they want to call in. Phone number is 657-383-1155. You can tweet us at GFT_radio using the hashtag Find Our Missing. And it's funny because I was talking to Clint. We're one of the shows we're going to do is going to talk about autism. That's kind of near and dear to my heart. But and I was telling him when we were talking about this show, and I said I watched an episode of Scorpion, the TV show comes on CBS Mondays at 10. Yeah, I love it too. They did a show where this the boy, I forget his name on it, the little boy on the show, he's a genius too. He goes to this birthday party with this boy, and the boy is autistic. He has the noise canceling headphones. He stuck to his iPad. He has it custom made for him, and the iPad kind of talks for him. Like if you're not familiar with autism, most kids with autistic kids like the iPad. That's how they communicate if they're nonverbal, and it kind of helps them, approach the world, stuff like that. But he went missing, and they were trying to find him, and they were looking for him in a manner in which you would look for a regular missing kid. Now, with autistic kids, you can't look for them as if you're looking for a regular missing kid because they're different. Everything affects them. They have sensory issues where they flock to certain areas. They prefer water. So if they're not a good swimmer, you got to be worried about that. And then you can't just approach an autistic kid like that, especially if they're not verbal, because one, they can't talk to you, and for two, they might run away because they don't know you. So we were talking about that, and I said that's always been my worst fear with my son, like, because he likes to run away, not run away, but like he has to run. And if he runs too far, he doesn't see me and he gets lost. He can't say to someone, "I need to find my mom." So that's another scary thing. Like, not only it doesn't affect regular kids, but for the disabled kids, how do you looking for them? The police need to know protocol on how to find these kids, especially autistic kids, because there's so many different levels to autism. And if they're nonverbal and if they're at the heightened state of autism, you have to kind of know how to look for them and not scare them, but get them, because essentially when you find them, you have to get them to come to you. They don't know you. So then depending on how they are, they might not approach you. They might run away from you, and even if you're a police officer, or someone trying to help them. So you got to kind of, I think that with the edit, and I believe most police stations do have, from what I've heard, they have these different programs that you can get a tracking device for your autistic child or your disabled child. They get little tracking device where you can always track them in case they were ever to get lost. It kind of lets you know that they're out the neighborhood and then alerts the police to come find them. And I'm hoping that they are trained properly to find them and approach them in a manner that they feel safe enough to come to them and be rescued,
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of police departments that are working with the Autism Foundation and I forgot the name of the other organization that does education educational programs for it. But they have been talking about that, especially here in Michigan. They've been doing a lot of different Autism Speaks, that's the one. Autism Speaks. So they've been doing a lot of different programs now to work with the police department, the state police as well, to kind of give them the education, like you were saying, how the protocols and how to approach or how to engage safely with children and adults that are on the spectrum. So it's definitely critical that they make use of those kind of resources. Because, like you said, that's a whole different world, right? It's a whole different methodology.
It's a whole different fear.
Exactly.
It's not. I mean, you already experienced that as a child. As a parent, you will fear. But when you know, like my son is learning to talk, so at that point, I would be terrified. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I would be probably beside myself because you wouldn't know what to do. That's a very real thing for us as parents to kind of look into these types of things. I remember when we were growing up, they had the thing with the fingerprint. You know, you take your fingerprint and you used to have it on file in case that ever happened. You know, had your picture taken, you had it all.
Yeah, I did that with my kids. We had the fingerprints, the dental, the little dental dam thing they had to bite into, and there was something else and so it's like all their DNA information and all that kind of stuff. And so I still got the packets in my freezer to this day. So yeah, my kids are grown now.
Yeah, but you have to. But God forbid, worst case scenario, you know,
exactly.
You have to try to be prepared, and that's just with anyone. Because, I remember watching Unsolved Mysteries, hearing like the people that just went missing, and you see the signs. People were missing for years. I remember I watched something. What did I watch on this show? I don't know what I was watching, but it was like one of them ID channels, something like that. This girl found out she was abducted. She didn't even know it, and she ended up finding out because I don't know what she was doing, but she happened to go through the missing person thing, and she found herself. And that's how, when she found out that she was abducted, and how, and that's what I'm saying, you take these kids at a young age, and they don't remember their parents, and then, it comes back to some bits and pieces, and they're trying to figure out why they feel different. And then for somebody to go on a missing person report and find themselves and know that they were kidnapped, what?
Right.
It's just in these situations, I'm probably watching it.
There was one recently, Kamaya Mobley, found out that she was kidnapped at birth, and she, I guess, found the information or was trying to get her who she thought was her mother to produce her birth certificate and all this stuff, and then found out that she was really kidnapped as a newborn. That's just crazy.
That's one thing they have at the hospitals, and they did beat that up. I remember my daughter was a baby. She had she was she was 2. She was a toddler, and I remember she got really sick, and I took her to the hospital, and I remember she was running around the hallways, and they had the little bracelet, the hospital bracelet on you. I didn't know that had a device on it. So when she went past a certain thing, all you seen were all these nurses running, trying to, they knew who went missing. It set up alarm to say that she had went for somebody, basically somebody took her. But it was her running through the halls and passing a certain part that let them know that this kid went past this unauthorized area. It was crazy because all you seen were all these nurses running, and I'm telling her to come here, and she's laughing. They're like, oh, we thought somebody took her. And I'm like, oh, no, she was just running. But, they have those things now that you can't just, maybe you take your kid to the hospital, they give you a thing and they give your kid one. Just make sure that, everything's on the up and up. So, some of these hospitals are taking the protocol. It's just worrisome as a parent. I would never want that to happen to anyone I knew. I don't want that to happen to anyone because that's probably the hardest thing. And then to never know where your child was or to know that somebody took your child and was harming your child.
I know, right? That's just crazy. like you said, it just breaks your heart. Knowing that something's going wrong with your child. So.
Exactly. Well, I couldn't even fathom that, and it makes me think of the John Benet Ramsey thing. I don't know why it just popped into my head. Like,
I know the tabloids are still reporting on that. And so much, that went on with that situation, and I think that little girl was she like 4 or 6, something like that. She was young. I know she was really, really young. And I guess they pretty much figured that she's dead, that she was murdered, right? But I guess they're trying to figure out who did it. That's the only.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out who did it, and they think it was somebody in the family. And the way the last report that they had, they were on CBS. They were talking about they thought it was her brother, and the parents were covering it up for him.
Right.
And I mean,
when it comes to children, there's so much, like you said, so much that you have to worry about, so much you have to think about, and I think the biggest takeaway from this is really just looking out for each other, right? Looking out for our kids, not assuming that that all the information that's out there is all there is, right? Because you kind of take for granted thinking that the news is going to report certain things on TV, or that in the newspaper you're going to see certain things, but there's more out there going on. I mean, one thing that caught my eye about this report, this recent reports, is that the Washington D.C. police was saying that their numbers are really not that different this year than they've ever been in the past 5, 6, 7 years. They said what they've been doing differently, though, is just the way they reported it. Right? So I guess in the past it was almost like they really didn't do anything other than did their investigation. They went out there and they looked, and if the parents pushed for certain things to happen, they did that. But there was only so much that they would do. But now they're doing more with the social media, posting it on Twitter, posting it on Facebook. So that's how the uproar, I won't say the uproar, but how the numbers started to look bigger than what they really get.
We got this article, and it says 501 missing children so far in 2017. And they said 22 cases were open as of Wednesday.
You're talking it's first quarter, right? The first quarter of the year. But the numbers line up with what happened last year. Because I guess last year they had a total of 2,440.
No, I'm looking at the one I'm looking at. It says
2,242 missing children.
Yeah.
In 2016 that were reported, and so if you break that up into 4 quarters, you're looking at about 500 or 600 missing kids per quarter being reported. So the numbers.
But that's scary.
It's scary. Yeah.
But you know how scary that is. Because all these numbers from 2014 up until current, up until last year, it's 2,000 plus cases of missing people, missing children.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's definitely it's definitely not something you want to see. It's really not something you want to see happening. But trends are trends, right? So we're not seeing an increase. It's not something that's exploding. It's not something that and I'm looking at the open cases. It's just numbers on the screen right now, so it's only so much impact it has. But I mean, the good thing I kind of see in the numbers is that, especially for DC, I mean, they're reporting that they only have 1 open case from 2014, 3 open cases from last year, and then the 14 from this year. So they're either they're doing something right, or they're finding, or they're at least closing the cases out, whatever that means, right? Who knows? Because we don't know. Like you said, even when they find people, we don't know what happened. We don't know if they were kidnapped, or if they weren't, or if they were harassed, or because I remember there was a young lady who was reported missing I don't remember what city it was in, but there was a young lady reported missing, I believe in Pennsylvania, and I guess they found her a couple of days later, and it turned out that poor young lady was raped and kidnapped and raped, and so they that's a case closed for them, right? The young lady that was kidnapped and murdered, that's a case closed for them. So, not all the closed cases mean a good outcome.
Yeah.
So we can't take solace in that, but there was closure, right? There's closure in at least.
There's closure for those parents.
99.99% of the cases getting closed with some closure. Currently, the 14, they're still looking for them, still trying to find those young men and women, mostly young girls, and hopefully they'll find them in a safe, and be able to bring them home safely. Definitely praying for that, but it's something that like I said, people just have. We all. I think, like I said, we just all have to keep in mind that it takes a village. We gotta look out for each other, look out for each other's kids. I mean, unfortunately, we have kids that are in the system. Unfortunately, we have kids that are in between group homes, in between foster homes. I do volunteer work for this one community group that deals with children that are in these kind of situations where they're in the system and they go through foster care and go through, and you hear some great stories where it works, but then you hear so many stories where it doesn't, and and the reason they're going between these homes is because, and it's not always the kids. It's usually not always the kids. Unfortunately, it's the foster parents that are abusing them, or it's the situations that they end up in because that foster parent couldn't really take care of all the kids they have. I mean, a lot of these foster parents are doing it for the money, not for the benefit of the child, and so the home situation is not up to par, or like I said,
we need better adoption. Better adoption rules and regulations, or foster families too, because like you said, people that
foster care,
because they, I remember this lady. She passed a couple years back. She's my neighbor, Miss Debbie. She was like the neighborhood mom. She, I met her when after I had my daughter. Me and my mom, we moved right next door to her in this apartment, and her husband had 3 kids. Four kids together. They had 2 boys. They had 3 kids. 2 boys and a girl. They were older. We grew up. We knew them growing up, stuff like that, whatever. But her husband always was like a foster parent. Like they used to keep kids there until they got permanent home, or they took some in. She ended up adopting I believe I may be mistaken, about 4 of the girls that she kept. She legally adopted them, and she raised them. And it was like for you to, and she was, when she got older, when I met her, she was cool. She ended up getting real sick, and she still she was like the rock to that family. And when she passed, it hurt all of them. And her kids and her kids that she adopted, they were like the one big family. And it's just amazing to see people like that just take on other people's kids. And they didn't take them when they were young. They took them as teenagers, and that's a hard
that's really
a hard thing in themselves, and let alone teenage girls. Mm-hmm. That's a whole nother ball game. It's not boys. Boys are easy. You got to worry about them getting people pregnant. But you got teenage girls with their attitudes and everything. And to take on that and do it in the manner in which she did, and she gave them everything that she could give them that was of her, and it was just wow, she was the most sweetest person ever, and I couldn't believe that because you don't really see that too much. You always hear the sob stories, and these girls went through everything with different foster parents and stuff like that, and then to get somebody that was good to them, and that affected them positively. We need more of those type of parents, not the ones just looking for a check.
Right.
And we need more programs. We do have the Big Brother, Big Sister program, but we need more. In our town, we got different programs, but we need them to be present and like into the schools. I think that if a lot of these programs were allowed to operate within the school system, they would get a lot of these kids attention.
Yeah.
I mean, because I remember I got to high school, it took for a peer teacher that didn't even know me, stopped me in the hallway and asked me what I was doing with myself. And I was looking at her like, you don't know me? What you talking about? She was like, I see you. And it took for somebody like that didn't never have a conversation with, that sounds really terrible, but she never had a conversation with me. Yeah, that was like so bad, English and talking. But, yeah, she never had a conversation with me prior to that. I've never talked to this lady ever. I didn't even know that, and that's how I always tell people, you never know who's watching you. You never know, because somebody that you don't know is going to tap you on the shoulder and actually look at your life, especially if you're going off course. And I think we need more programs like that in our schools. We need them peer programs. We need those type of programs. That way we can help each other, but we can help us before we get caught up in the system. We need more brother programs or gentleman programs in the schools to teach these boys outside of what their parents are teaching them. But imagine if we were like the parents were teaching you that and you learned it in school.
Right. Well, and just to kind of piggyback off what you're saying in terms of the person, coming to you and asking you to do, I mean, it's no bad reflection on the parent, because like even with my parents, I mean, I grew up in a household where my parents stressed education. My parents stressed having a good job and doing what it takes to raise a family and hard work and all these kind of things, right? And, my sister for a long time didn't really listen to my parents in that regard, and then for me, I listened to them, but, I just kind of took almost, I won't say a laissez-faire, but, I just kind of like just got along, right? I just moved along. But it took other people who said, you know what, you can do more, or you can do this, or you can do that, and for me to spark my interest into something else that would be bigger than what I was doing, or more than what I thought I could accomplish, that kind of thing. Luckily it was early on and as a kid, where some kids don't even get that until their later, teenage years, or maybe not even until they're young adults. And sometimes they're not listening until then. But basically what I'm saying is, sometimes you just need that extra person that's out there, like you said, that you don't even realize is watching, that's saying, hey, I know I see your potential, and I see where you can go, and I see what you can do, and I think you should do more, and I think you should try to do better than what you're doing now, and then get your attention and makes you want to do something different with your life. And like I say, that's definitely what we need, or to give you the skills that your parents can't. I mean, my parents, not even my parents, but nobody I know in my family knows anything about computers other than my father's second cousin, twice removed, and that he was the one. He was the one the only person I knew that I could probably ask a question about something with computers, but past that, it was like nobody. But I had to go out and find people who could help me in my career as a system engineer and as a businessman doing technology consulting. I had to go find those people who could support me and help me and maybe not train me, but they could at least give me guidance, right? And sometimes you need that as well. I mean, like I said, not only what the parents are teaching, but things that they can't teach you. You sometimes need that additional help.
Yeah, definitely. You got to learn things outside. You got to step outside your comfort zone to learn what you want to learn to get where you want to be in life. So everything, is not everything. I don't believe. I mean, your parents teach you one thing, but I do agree with you. Learn from outside influences as well. So that's definite. But guys, we're gonna wrap tonight's show up. Thank you, Willie, for hanging out with me. I was worried I had to do this solo. I was like,
yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's probably been a little weird.
It's been real one-sided. Like, this is my views on it. Hey, what about this? And it's always good when you can kind of, because I like when you, like, I like how we do this because you get to have a conversation with people. And, like, even if it's just you or me, you, and J. Rowe and Clint, but it's just like we get to have that discussion. And, like, I like having discussions like this because even whatever the topic is, because you get to kind of get somebody's other viewpoint from how you might not think the way they're thinking. When they say something to you, like, you know what, that do make sense. And you kind of, you don't think that way until somebody brings it to your attention. So I like when you can have, like, these real conversations that need to be had and get to bounce your conversation off somebody that actually has an opinion and they can actually get it out there and express it. And, kind of may change your way of thinking or make you look at something, you never know. So thank you.
Right.
Always
taking it in there with us. I love you guys, and the show is always on point. The topics are always on point, so I always enjoy being on the show and definitely chopping it up.
Yeah. So you want to give out your information before I go into the next week and all that?
All right. Yep. This is Willie Styles, people. You can catch me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I got my own blog as well, AskWillieStyles.com. WillieStyles.info. It's STYLEZ. Styles with a Z. Catch me out there. I'm all over the place.
All right. And I am Sunny_D on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. You can follow my blog, unreservedlyme.com. Definitely check out ClintKingstruth.com. You got to check out his blog. He got all different types of things on there. He do words of the day, quotes. He share like good videos that you might want to check out or you might not know about, but he'll put you onto it. Follow him on Twitter at eTrentGroupMe. What is it? He's on Instagram as Clint Black. I don't know what his Snapchat is. I think it's the King's Truth, but don't quote me. Find him. He there. Shout out to J Bro. J-Bo 609, get social, he's everywhere. But next week, I want to let you guys know, this is kind of why I brought that topic up into this show, kind of worked it in just a little bit, because next week we will be touching on a topic that I am currently living. We're going to be talking about autism. If you guys follow me on my social media and one of my platforms, I'm talking about me and my son and my family's journey through him being diagnosed with autism and all that. We could have talked about it 2 years ago, but I didn't want to. I was still trying to figure out this whole thing. I don't know everything, but we're going to talk about that next week. So if you know someone in your family or if you know someone that you experience it yourself within your own family, definitely tune into that show for support reasons, to hear some of my journey. It's not going to be all about me. I'm not going to be the only one talking. You get everybody else to talk too, because some people got to get to see my son, or they may have family members that have been going through this as well. It's different levels to autism. It's different things that are closely related to autism. So we're going to be talking about that as well. But definitely tune into that show. That is going to be. I'm hoping that it will be a good show. It'll be very informative. I'm not going to give you facts. I'm going to give you real life stuff that I've went through that I had to learn myself, and that's stuff that, you can look for the signs if you know somebody that may be autistic that needs to get diagnosed early, that way they can get the help they need ASAP. It's all about getting the diagnosis early, so that way you can affect the outcome for the long run. So tune into that. Check out our website, gftradioshow.com. Check out our social media apps. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter at GFT_radio. I just made a Tumblr account for GFT Radio. You can find that on all of our links are on our website. So when you go to our website and you check about GFT Radio, all of our links are at the bottom of that page. Our YouTube, our SoundCloud, just everything that you can get in contact with us, our Facebook page, all of it is there. So definitely check us out. We thank you guys who support our show thus far, who are continually support us. I definitely got to shout out these podcasts real quick. Shout out to Talk It Out Podcast. You guys have been supporting us. Q at The Critical Dump, shout out to you and your whole team. Shout out to, I'm going to say the name wrong. Gerald going to kill me because I'm about to yell at him because I don't know why I'm getting a notification that he's sending me he's following me on Twitter. I thought I've been following him or he's been following me, but I don't know. But Gerald, shout out to you. Block 700, the 700 Block Podcast. Check that out. His brother Fresco's World, check him out as well. Oh man, what's the other podcast I wanted to shout out? I'm forgetting people, so don't kill me. But I definitely got to shout out my boys. Just Say Words. Jay from Just Say Words, shout out. You always support. We always chit-chat and laughing about a bunch of stuff on Twitter. And y'all got to check out his Instagram posts. Those are hilarious. Those are attention-grabbing, hilarious Instagram things. Check him out, too. But thank you again, guys, for listening to tonight's show. Good night.
To our folks. Have a good night. See y'all in 7.
Right? Oh, that's the point. Like, somebody.
That's dedicated to.
Hold on. We got somebody on the line. Hold on 1 second. I want to get them before we get off. Hello, caller, you on the line. I was not expecting this.
Hey, how you doing? I called
Hello?
a little late because how you doing? Hello. What up, Bestie?
Tell me yourself. How are you? Hey, Frank.
What's going on? Yeah, I called a little late.
Yeah,
I
what's
was listening to this, but I had, Thursday is my rehearsal night. It got done a little late, but I listened to a lot of, about a good 15, 20 minutes of the show, and everybody brought up good points, and, but a lot of, the communities these days, like somebody said, it takes a village. We don't have that anymore. That's a big problem.
Absolutely.
As far as our kids are concerned these days, because I remember growing up and everybody on the block, you can get your behind whooped if you did something from the lady down at the end of the block, and by the time you got home, you got another one because your mom already knew about it. So now you can't do things. You can't do things like, and then you got some of the parents that you say something to them and my kid wouldn't do that, blah blah, and so it's a whole bunch of, the community's lost a lot of things. The police, even then, different. They used to take you home and depending on what it was, take you home to your parents and let them handle it. All kinds of things. Everything. Personally myself, I got in a lot of trouble when I was younger, but it got to the point when I was about to turn 18. And the judge told me, he was like, "Listen, you go in the service, and if you go in the service, then I'll wipe your your juvenile record it will be gone. But if you don't, then next time I see you, I'm gonna lock you up."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, being that
that wake up call.
I was 7.
Wake up call, right?
Yep. Being that I was 17, my mom and dad signed the papers for me to go in the service, and I went, and basically, I got to say that probably saved my life and kept me on the side of the track I ended up being on instead of the other side.
But that's
the time
you get the outside people that catch your attention.
Yeah, and it's sad. I heard one of the brothers say he did volunteer work. I did some when I was on my job before. A lot of us did volunteer work, like in the city of Camden. We worked with a lot of at-risk youth, and some of the stories that these kids are living. I mean, the lives they're living. It's just sad, the things these kids are going through, and they're so young, and you can't really blame them for how they're turning out because of the things they're going through. It's crazy.
Yes, it's a lot of kids raising their parents.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
raising their parents, raising their siblings, and they just getting thrown around.
Exactly. So that's the transition that we're living in. Like, it's different now, and you kind of and they're doing something they shouldn't be doing. They're not allowing themselves to be kids. That's why when they get old enough, they become kids as an adult. That's like when the guys been locked up from juvenile up until adulthood. When they come out, they're still acting like a kid because that's all they know. They weren't able to be a kid because they were where they were.
Right.
So it's a such a cycle, but as we have to change that. We have to bring more fathers back into the picture of their kids' lives. You got to bring a lot of moms. You'd be surprised about a lot of moms back into their kids' lives because that's what they need. Yeah. Whether y'all together or not, you still need to be a parent.
Right.
Yeah, I see so many people out here now like that where it's so many kids out here now where it's like it's the reverse nowadays where the fathers are raising the kids and the mothers are missing, and it's crazy. Things that that I mean it may not be her fault or it may be a situation that needed that, but it's happening. It's happening more and more. And it's still an epidemic out here of single family homes and single parent homes rather, where we're still not seeing the dual parents, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just,
and then you see the thing like this, and then you see like this, like guys hear the rap of, the dads are not being there for their daughters. Moms need to be there for their sons. Because that if you're a man and you were a boy growing up and your mom just wasn't a good mom, that affects you. Same way with a daughter that her dad wasn't a good father. It affects them because they need both. They don't need one, they need both. And that's in this day and age, you either get one or you get the other, or you get them both and they're constantly bickering. That's one other thing you got to kind of take that out of the situation, or not have that child see that, because they see you arguing with the other parent. It's going to cause them to basically pit you guys against each other, because they know that if I ask my dad for X, Y, Z and he tells me no, my mom going to give it to me, despite him, or vice versa.
And it skews their viewpoint on relationships, right? When you don't have a mother or father, you only have that other person in your life. You don't see how a relationship is supposed to work. Or if you have a bad relationship that's in front of you, you don't see how a good relationship is supposed to work. So it definitely skews your viewpoint, and it causes, especially with men, they're finding that it makes it harder for them to have lasting or loving relationships, because they see this lack of love or this lack of commitment, from the parents. And it makes them be the same way. It's a vicious cycle, right?
Yeah. And you ever see a boy that feel like his mom don't love him? Like, guys that their mom was never there. And moms by nature, we love our kids. So if you are void of that, that's a big thing. You can't, moms provide the love, fathers provide the love and discipline. And it's kind of a balancing situation. That's what the normal is. If you're not getting any of those things, you're a lost person. So that's the world we're living in right now. So that's why we got all these girls in the videos shaking their asses and thinking that's some man gonna love them because they got all this and they don't love themselves. So we don't really need to get in that discussion, because that's a whole nother that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
But thank you, Frank, for calling.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Frank. Yeah, I hope I get done early enough to join the topic next week. Well, I live that too, so my middle son.
Yeah, so you got it, and I'm trying to, and I swear, I'm gonna reach out to everybody I know that's kind of dealing with this, because I want them to I think that discussion next week is going to be an amazing discussion, and I wish we could get parents, not even just parents, aunts and uncles that watch their nieces or nephews or family members go through this type of situation and see it from their eyes, because you don't.
Yeah.
So I would love that. So I'm hoping that with the promotion, we're going to promote all through the week, that we get a lot of people that want to call in and just understand it. If they don't call in that day, listen to it back when we put it on the YouTube or SoundCloud and check it out and give us your opinion, because that's going to be, like I said, a lot of people don't understand autism, so I'm still learning about it. So, or different realms of those type of things. So we're going to talk about it all, but definitely if you can join us that show, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Good night, Frank.
All right. Good night, everybody.
All right. All right. Good night.
All right. Good night. Willie?
Yep.
All right, guys. I'm not going to go through the whole rap. I did it like a couple minutes ago. I'm not going to do it. But we had to. I called the call. We had to get them on the line. We had to get them on. Couldn't just hang up the end of the show. We had to let them come on and give that topic. And it kind of sparked another conversation that we're going to address at another point. But tonight we're going to wrap this show. Thank y'all for listening. Good night. See y'all in 7 days, right?
All right. See y'all in 7. Peace.
Bye.
Napa know-how.
The Napa guy knows not to judge a man by his car's multicolored paint job or absence of modern gadgetry. Who cares if it's technically old enough to vote and the windows are powered by the strength of your left arm? Your monthly payment is zero, and it'll stay that way. Because with over 500,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep anything on the road. She may not be pretty, but she's all yours. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
Want the best streaming experience on the go? Only Xfinity gives you more to stream to any screen. Take the Xfinity X1 Challenge and see for yourself. Or, now until March 28th, you can get started with the Starter XF Triple Play from Comcast for $89.99 a month for 12 months and $114.99 a month your second year with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to upgrade to get a $200 prepaid card. Click, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store today. Restrictions apply. New customers only. Equipment taxes and fees including broadcast TV and RSN fees extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply.